Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's live trading session. Okay, so
Hello, good
sorry,
afternoon.
by the way, that we're unable to meet up for last week, Thursday and Friday. Had a couple of events that I was anchoring, so that's why you didn't see me around. Okay, but we are back fully, and we're gonna be taking time out to, of course, as we always do, go through the market and see what's going on. But first of all, how have you been? Hope you are great. Hope you've been doing perfectly well and hope you've been making some good profit. Hope you've been making some good profit. I'm perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very, very great. Thank you. Um, some of you have been making some profit without me, but I'm glad that I'm back. All right, so okay. Someone said he is new here. Please. I like the please you added at the end. Okay, so here is a live trading session that we're organizing. So if you're here, it means that you probably would have funded your account and you're willing to trade, and also you're willing to make profit. So if you're willing to make money, then you're in the right place. But this is not actually where we start teaching people how to place trades. No, this particular space is for traders already, people who are already trading. So if you have not started trading, or if you're still maybe learning the process, I would advise that maybe you take out some time to go through that those classes first. But this is for live trading, just like the name is. This is a live trading session. All right, it's a live trading session. Okay, so but you're welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Festus. You're welcome. All right. So let's get on with it. All right. So after this class, you can always rewatch it, or maybe if you want to see some how we did some of the analysis we did, you can always rewatch it on our YouTube page. All right. You can a page has been posted on the comment section. You can always go to the YouTube page and rewatch the event and rewatch the meeting. All right. So you can always do that. So this is our YouTube page. And if you're not on our Telegram channel yet, I think you need to get on board in our Telegram channel. There are a lot of things that goes on on our Telegram channel. Um, so I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to be sharing my screen just right about now. Okay. There are some instruments I'm going to be introducing to us today. All right, there are some instruments I'm going to be introducing to us today, and I hope with that we should also be able to make some good profit with them in no time. All right, so those instruments, I'm going to be telling you why I would choose to introduce them, and also how they actually react, all right, to the trading session also, or how they react to the trading session. And of course, we've been looking at within the period, we've also been looking at corn, wheat, and soybeans, like that is some agro commodity instruments. Yeah, we've actually been looking at some agro commodities, and I hope you've also been making money with the agro commodities so far. I hope you've been. I hope you've been, because I personally I have actually been making some good profit. And I said that I was going to be putting us through on how I do the analysis using the during the agro commodity time. You know, I don't normally do analysis. I just say, okay, with what has happened, you can enter a buy or enter a sell on that. And well, it's actually been going on perfectly well. And I said I was actually going to maybe get our time to explain to us how I do it, and how you can also take advantage of that. Right. So within the period, hopefully within this week, I would fix up a time to be able to talk about agro commodities, or maybe we're doing one of our agro commodity expose. I hope you've actually been joining those events. But going forward, I also noticed that a couple of us actually entered some trades on agro commodities without having the required minimum. And at a point, it doesn't really go as planned for you. I will advise, if you want to take up any trade on agro commodities, please make sure that you have the required minimum. Don't just jump into that particular trade. Make sure that you have the required minimum before you be able to do that. It is very, very important. Okay. Now, how many of us have traded this particular instrument? This is US dollars against Mexican peso. All right. This is US dollars against MXN. This is a Mexican currency. How many of us have traded it? This is one instrument that you don't want to be missing out, especially when it comes to volatility period. All right. So I'm going to be talking about two major instruments or three major instruments. Then we'll go back to our normal instrument that we've always been taking advantage of. So let's just check out time to look at USD MXN. We're going to be looking at USD CHN. This particular instrument is Chinese economy. Yeah, it's Chinese currency. And you know, of course, there are a couple of news going to Chinese currency. And of course, we're also going to be looking at another one, USD PLN. All right. All right. We're going to be looking at USD PLN. This particular one is for Polish economy. All right. So let's start with USD MXN. First of all, today is bank holiday. On some economies, I already told you that during bank holiday, one of the reasons why bank holiday is very much important is because it tells you the currencies that you probably will not be expecting a lot of volatilities on. Okay. And of course, today, there is no any high impact news. There is no any major or medium impact news. The only thing we have is Canadian bank holiday. All right. And we're going to be looking at MXN and going on 5 minutes time frame. All right, going on 5 minutes time frame, you will discover that this particular instrument has actually been making a consistent high. All right, it's been making a consistent high, meaning that US dollars has actually been doing better than this particular instrument on 5 minutes time frame. All right, on 5 minutes time frame, they've been a consistent up move. They've been a consistent uptrend. All right, and of course, you already know, anytime you're seeing this kind of trend, you know that the base currency is stronger. And currently, it is currently going to be resting on this particular resistance. So this particular instrument, USD MXN, is headed back to this weak resistance right here. It's headed back to this weak resistance right here. All right. This instrument is headed back to this weak resistance right here. Okay, so sorry, just a second, please. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so please, when you join us, kindly stop your video. All right. All right. So now we are headed back to this weak resistance. All right. So, and of course, I will not tell you to enter any trade on this weak resistance. The only thing I will tell you is that allow the market to get to this weak resistance, then enter a sell from there. All right. Allow the market to get to the weak resistance, then enter a sell from there. Please don't enter instant sell. There are two things that you can either do. On these instruments, I'm going in for a sell. And of course, my take profit is going to be within this region. All right, within here. So this is actually where my take profit is. That's 17.8398. That's where my take profit is going to be. But I am going to be setting either a sell limit up here or a sell stop just at this point. All right. So either a sell limit from there. Now, why will I be setting up a sell limit? So that when it gets to this place and trigger my sell, I'm actually bringing it a little lower. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be setting a sell limit here. All right. So that when it triggers my sell and then start falling, I'll be able to take my profit down here. But if you don't want to set up a sell limit, then set up a sell stop from this point, bringing it all the way down. But for this particular instrument, I am looking at, okay, here, it's not even a verified, it's not even a weak resistance again. It is now a verified resistance. It is now a verified resistance. All right, so don't enter a buy. All right, don't enter a buy, but rather look out for a sell opportunity. Look out for a sell opportunity. All right, so for this particular instrument, we're going in for a sell, but we're not entering at instant execution. No, please don't sell immediately, but hold on for price to get to this point, which is at 17.9076, 17.9076. Once price gets to that point, then pick up a sell all the way down. Or you can decide to set a sell stop. So if you want to do this, I personally, I'm going to be setting up a limit at that point and then bring it down. Now, if you even want to be a better kind of analyst, so one of the things you can actually do is that you can set up this one and set up this one. It means that this particular one can dance to this one and then he take profit, and then this one continues and then gets to this point. But this is actually our sell target. This is our sell target for today. And if I'm going to be using my lot calculator to determine how much I'm going to be making from this particular trade, let's see. Setting up these regions as okay, so this is our price. Of course, this is our price. Okay, let's say consider here to be the SL, and then I'll take profit to be somewhere around here. So most likely on this particular instrument with my account balance, I'm going to be trading it with 0.2, and of course I'm making about 34,000 naira from this trade. All right, I'm making about 34,000 naira from this trade, entering at that particular point. So the required amount I'm going to the required lot size I'm going to be using is about 0.2 on my balance, and I'm making about 34,000 naira. So with where my stop loss is, I'm just going to be losing about 10,000 naira from the trade, and of course, it means I'm actually going to be making about ×3 of what I would have lost if it goes in my direction, which I know it will. So this is my take profit, and this is actually how I'm going to be going about this. So this is my entry position, 17.0976, and I'm going to be taking my profit at 17.8398. But if you want to use this point as your entry, maybe if you're setting up a sell stop, remember I said it's better to go for a sell stop rather than go for a sell limit rather than a sell stop. But if you decide to go for a sell stop, now this is the amount you're going to be making. You're just going to be making about 6,000 naira from the trade. All right, 6,000 naira from the trade, and of course your leverage is going to be changing, or lot size is going to be changing. All right, but I can also decide to stake about 4% of my capital. That is the only time I'll make some bigger amount of profit. But I am going with the first one. I'm going with the first one, which my trade is active right now. Okay, so that is that for this particular instrument. We're going in for a sell, and then we're taking our profit at 17.8398. I hope that is well understood. Okay, so let's take a look at US CHN. I already told you that this particular instrument, it is US dollars against Chinese yen. Of course, Chinese uses yen, so US dollars against Chinese yen. So I'm also going to be using 5 minutes time frame. Okay, 5 minutes time frame. This particular instrument, one thing you should know is that it's very cheap to trade on. It's very cheap to trade on, but because of during the volatility on volatile period, you might see a little bit of the spread being on the increase. All right, but apart from that, this particular instrument is one of those instruments that you can comfortably trade on, and you can easily predict the direction. Why? Because there are now, one thing you should always do is that before you just jump into any trade, make sure that there are fundamentals backing that particular trade. Make sure there are fundamentals backing that particular trade that you want to go into, especially this particular instrument. All right, especially this particular instrument, you can always see news from China. You can always see news from China, and look at this, where the market is right now. All right, so look at this particular instrument. If you check it out, it's actually on an uptrend. It's actually pushing up. All right, it's pushing up, and you know, with what has happened over time, this is like a major point where the market is right now. This is like the major point, even if it has not gotten to that point. So with this instrument also, I am also going to be going in for a sell limit rather. Why I wouldn't ask you to go in for a buy is because the distance between here and here might not be that much. And before it covered up the spread, you might not really make enough money. So I would advise, wait for price to get to this verified resistance, then sell. Wait for price to get to the verified resistance and then do a sell. Sell from the verified resistance. And you can always see news from China. You can see news from China. You can see news from US. So when you measure this, but in fact, you even see more news from China than US. You might probably doubt that, but it's true. Check your investing.com every morning. The first thing you will see is Chinese news. All right. The first thing you see is Chinese news. So this particular instrument is headed to this verified resistance. Even our IPM is actually showing us a possible reversal, but yes, the reversal is going to be coming, but not immediately. So set up a sell limit at this price level. Set up a sell limit at price 7.04828. 7.04828. You can set up a limit from there and then bring it all the way down. Now, if I am taking up the trade, my take profit is going to be a very long one, which is headed to this point, which is at 17.03965. But this is actually mine to enjoy. This is mine to enjoy. So if I want to set up a stop loss on this trade, I'll just go above the verified resistance and set up my stop loss, which is something really almost insignificant. Do you understand? So now let's see what is a possible lot size we're going to be using for this particular trade. What is the possible lot size we're going to be using for this trade? Okay, so with that in mind, of course, I'll just push this one up here. This is where I want my stop loss to be, and my take profit is going to be all the way down here. So just to rearrange it, my price is already at the right place. So is a sell limit I am placing. So, and I want to stake about 3% of my capital. Okay, so let's just make it 1%. 1% of my capital. So I am actually going to, on this trade, I am making about 28,000 naira. All right, on this particular trade on 0.49. All right, and my stop loss is just going to be about 10,000. So I'm only losing about 10K to make about 28,150. Okay, so, and I think it's actually a very good one, and I'm just risking just about 1% of my capital that I'm risking on this particular trade. All right, so I think it's actually a very good one, and on my own I am taking it about 0.49 lots. So my lot size I'm taking on for this trade is about 0.49, and I'm going in for a sell. Remember, I said I'm going in for a sell once price gets to this verified resistance, or I'll just enter at price 7.04828, 0.74828, and I'm bringing it all the way down to 7.03965. All right, at least this actually also helps me with my money management and also to set up a preferred lots and targets. So I think it's actually a better point. So I can also decide to set up those trades directly here, but it's already been given me. So I think I'm good with this. So this is my entry position in this particular instrument. And I said we are going in for what? We're going in for a sell. We're going in for a sell. On this instrument, we are going in for a sell. We are going in for a sell. All right. So let's also use the opportunity and look at dollar index. Dollar index. I know we should have checked dollar index even before we started up, but let's just look at dollar index right now. Okay. All right. So for a while, dollar index actually had a massive move up, which a lot of persons didn't expect. Yeah, a lot of persons didn't actually expect this particular push up that dollar index had on 1 hour time frame. And the truth is that even myself, I didn't expect it. I was expecting dollar index to fall from this particular price level, but it's actually pushed up to this level, which is really a great one from dollar. It's really a great one from dollar. But I personally, I am looking at dollar for the strength in dollar index not continuing. All right, it might not really continue as we propose. But for today, we are going for a further buy on dollar. All right, we're going in for a further buy on dollar. So we're going to be taking our profit at this particular untested resistance. Now, there are two things you can do with this instrument. There are two things you can do with this instrument, which is dollar index. What you can do is that you can decide to enter a buy up to this point, or just set up a limit also. All right. Or you can set up a limit from that point. Now, remember that here is actually a very key region. Here is a very key region. Okay, here is a very, very key region. Now, price is actually bounced off from this point severally. So I am actually looking out for a limit or an instant sell, or maybe I might just decide to still buy till this point. All right, so I might just decide to still buy up a little bit above. All right, yeah, I know it's currently selling just a few minutes, but then the sell is not just going to push down immediately. No, it will still push up a little bit before this consistent sell. So on this particular instrument, on a general trend, we're going in for a sell. Remember, we're going in for a sell. But I said it is better how you set up a sell limit on it. It's better you set up a sell limit on it. Why? Because look at the double top. First of all, it has made a double top out here. So even if it pushes up a little bit, it will still meet another double top. Do you understand? This is the first double top, this arrow, and then this dark cloud is a double top right here. All right, which symbolizes a sell reversal. And even if it decides to go above this double top, there is another double top just up ahead. All right, so this particular instrument, we're going in for a sell. We're going in for a sell. And our take profit on this instrument is going to be at the base here. So it is selling. You can decide to enter now or enter at this point or anyhow you want to do it. But for this dollar index, we are selling. All right, we are selling. Now you actually know the reason why we're selling, setting up a sell on USD CHN, and then of course the other instrument that we took, the USD MXN. So those are the reasons why we're taking up a sell position on that. That is because we are actually selling US index, dollar index. You're also selling dollar index. Do you understand? So that actually makes a lot of sense right now. All right. So I said it's either you set up a sell limit at this point, because I still feel it's going to push up a little bit, or you can do stacking technique. I remember I discussed about stacking technique last week, how you can actually, once a price gets to a certain level, you can decide to accumulate a trade. Once it starts going in your direction, then you can now start closing up those trades gradually while you make some really good profit. You can also do that. And how will you do that? I can decide to enter a sell at this point, and it goes up a little bit, I'll enter another sell, and it goes up a little bit, I'll enter another sell. So that when it starts coming down, I should be able to make really some good I should be able to make some really good profit on this. So with that, how many lot size am I supposed to use for this particular trade? I'll just come up here. Okay, so I said, okay, I can actually use that as my entry position where current market price is. So I can actually use that point as my entry, and then just switch my take profit and my stop loss to, okay, great. Now, this is actually the reason I said don't enter instant execution. All right, so this is actually where we're setting up our price. Okay, so this is our entry position, which is at price 103.135. That is a better position to enter a sell. That is in between the first double top and the second double top. All right. So and I'm using about 0.45 lots, and I'm making about 29,000 naira from this trade. If you hit my take profit, which is about 13 pips, and it's actually a very good one. And my stop loss is just about 4 pips, which is just about 1,029 naira. So that one is really insignificant. All right. So I'm using about 0.45 on this trade, and I'm making about 29,000 naira from it. So now you can actually know exactly the amount you can make on a particular trade. You can know that, okay, this particular trade, if I risk this thing, just about 1% of your capital. Now, if you want to increase the percentage of your capital, maybe if you have enough money, you can use maybe, let's say, 4% of your capital, and that would have given you about 116,000 naira. 116,000 naira, which is actually a very good one. And you might just be losing about 40,000 naira from the trade. All right, that is if you have enough volume to use that. But I want to use okay, let me just use 2% of my capital. So I'm using 0.9, and I'm making about 58,000 naira from this trade. So it's still a very good one for me. So I'm going in for a sell on this particular instrument. I'm going in for a sell on it. All right, I'm going in for a sell on it. Okay, so let me just take this question then before I continue. Somebody asked, how do I get the lot size, the lot size calculator. I actually mentioned it last week and I told you how you can get it, but I would actually explain it again. Now, if you need it, it is actually for our VIP clients. So, and I said there is a certain amount of money you have in your account is going to be automatically configured in your laptop. Now, if you have this, it means that you're actually going to be having access to most of our indicator platforms. And most times, anytime we have any new indicator coming out, you might get a notification directly. So it is mostly for our VVIP clients. All right. So you can ask your account manager the desired minimum amount that you could have to be able to have access to this particular in detail. All right. So, and the stalking technique just means that you are going to be entering trades, multiple trades, while you're following a particular trend, so that when they start reversing, it will be able to hit exactly what you want. Okay. So, all right. So let's just take a look at GBP USD, USD JPY, and Euro USD before we finally, because it's almost time. I wasn't even looking at my time. I spent more time explaining. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's just use support and resistance template directly. All right, now this particular instrument just got to this weak resistance right here. This weak resistance right here. Now, I am actually considering a further buy on this particular instrument. I'm considering a further buy on this particular instrument, that is Euro USD. Now, you already know that it is already stated on the trend around this level. This is already what we're expecting. All right, this is already what we're expecting. It has been hitting this point and pushing up, but then there is a weak resistance right there. There's a weak resistance right there. So my target on this particular trade is that for it to get to this verified resistance, So don't get carried away with the sell that you're currently seeing here. Don't get carried away. So let's just go to smaller time frame and see exactly what the market is doing. All right. All right, now this is it. It's actually bounced off from this particular resistance, which is actually what we saw. All right, which is actually what we saw at the 1 hour time frame. This is the resistance we saw at 1 hour time frame, and it's already gotten to this point. So I said that this is where the market is headed to. Remember the trend line I drew, and I said it's headed to that point. And good enough, on 5 minutes time frame, you have the time. All right, on 1 hour time frame, you might not really be seeing the difference between the trend line and the price, but on 5 minutes time frame, you could see the difference, and you can actually make some really good profits while the trend is going down. All right, so that means we can actually still make profits from the price till this point. All right, we can actually make profit from the price to this particular region. So I am taking my profits at price 1.08019. 1.08019. But what did I say? The general trend of this or Euro USD is what? Is a buy. All right. Just like we said that what's it called? Dollar index most likely is also actually going to be facing a little bit of a downturn. All right. And we set up, okay, it has already this particular region, it has already given us a several reversal indications. So with that in mind, we are going to be going in for okay, great. So what we're going to be going in for is this particular sell. Said the line is not touching the candle. The line does not need to touch the candle. Once you can just pick up a particular direction that the market is going and use I used more of the wick. All right, I used more of the wick than just the candle. But if you want to set it up on the candle, you can actually go ahead. But I am going in for a sell on Euro USD. I'm going in for a sell. And I think that same thing goes for GBP USD. I'm actually going in for a sell on GBP USD too. All right, so let's just check out GBP USD and see how it's doing. Exactly the same thing. I'm going in for a sell on GBP USD. So just some few seconds to, okay, it's already time. And let's see how the market is actually reacting. I would have loved to take gold. Yes, I would have loved to take gold, but there isn't no time again. But if you want to go in, take up any trade on gold, you can just go in for a sell. All right, you can just go in for a sell on gold, but don't stay long. Read my mouth, don't stay long. All right, so that would just be that for this particular instrument. Remember, I said this one, I am going in for a further sell. Let's take a look at how the dollar index is behaving right now. Yeah, yes for your question. Yes. All right, dollar index, I'm still going in for a sell. Remember I said I am going in for a sell on dollar index. I'm going in for a sell on dollar index. Okay, so for those that trade on agro commodities, just some few minutes before the time. All right, just about 4 minutes before the time, and I hope you're already on your chart. And I told you that, okay, just a brief detail about this. Now, we are using the gap strategy. We're using the gap strategy. All right, we're using the gap strategy for dollar index. We are using the gap strategy. So anytime it gaps, any direction the gap happens, that is the direction we are going to be using, because these agro commodities always have the potential of pushing towards a particular gap. Do you understand? There is always going to be a pressure towards a particular gap. So if it's having a gap up, you're going to be seeing a further push towards that gap. And if it's having a gap down, you're going to be seeing a further push towards the gap down too. So that is why most times, once we see the gap down, I always tell you, okay, enter instant sell, don't stay long. And if you have a good volume, use a very good lot size so that you will not be able to stay, you will not stay long in the market. But if you don't have a good volume, it is just better you stay away from it or use a very little lot size. Use a very low lot size and also be able to track your activity. You don't need to make a lot of money from it. But on this particular one, depending on the amount you have in your account, once the market opens, it's going to be opening in the next 30 minutes. Once the market opens, we should be able to take advantage of it. I'm going to be monitoring my time so that once it's time, we're going to be taking advantage of this particular trade. Now, USD MXN didn't play out exactly how we wanted. So if you had used this particular technique, it should have hit this particular threshold, and I hope you actually did. That's actually one of the reasons why this lot and risk management indicator is actually very nice. But if you didn't, just hold on the trade, because it's going to be bouncing off very, very soon. It's going to be bouncing off very, very soon. And I also told you about this particular one. And for this, okay, great. It has already triggered our sell and it's going in our direction. It's going in our direction already. So if you had used this entry position, which is at 7.04828, you would have been on profit already on this particular trade. And of course, it is still pushing in our direction. So let's take a look at dollar index. I just want to keep an eye on the agro commodities while we're still discussing. Okay, great. Also, if you enter the sell on dollar index, you're actually in for some really good ride. All right. I don't know why this USD MXN actually, okay, great. If it's already coming back from on our direction, so you can comfortably enter an instant sell on this particular instrument. You can comfortably enter again on instant sell. GBP USD, it's actually going. Okay, I think I actually messed up the trend on GBP USD and Euro USD. Since I said dollar index was actually supposed to sell, GBP USD and Euro USD is supposed to have bought. Sorry, yeah, they're supposed to have bought. Why? Because remember we said dollar is actually going to sell. So with that, these two instruments are going to buy. I think I messed up the trend requirement on them. So if you're already on the sell, yeah, you can, you don't need to exit. All right, because it's still going to get to this point. You don't need to exit. It's still going to get to this point. Just enter a buy and then take your profits, let's say 10 pips away from it, at least to cover up most of those. But it's still going to fall as time goes on. All right. Remember that we said the direction of the dollar is what? Is a sell. And if the direction of the dollar is a sell, then Euro USD shouldn't be buying. I think that was a mistake from my end. All right. So okay, great. It's agro time. It's agro time. Let's just take a look at agro. Okay, great. Corn actually had a gap up, so I'm going in for a buy. I'm going in for a buy on corn, and I'm taking my profit. Okay, I don't need to give you take profit. Just use a good lot size and close as soon as possible. Wheat also is a gap up, but there is a support. There is a resistance just at that point. I personally, I will still enter the buy. All right. I will still enter the buy because support and resistance don't really do much when it comes to this. But if you don't want to, please don't, because there is a resistance just at that point. There's a resistance just at that point. But for corn, I'm going in for a buy. And also for wheat, of course, I'm also going in for a buy because the gap actually happened and it's currently above that particular resistance. So I'm going in for a buy on corn. I'm going in for a buy on soybean. I will also go in for a buy on wheat. But if you don't want, please don't take that of wheat. All right. If you don't want, don't take that of wheat. So that is that for the agro commodities. We're going in for a buy on them. If you actually took corn, I think you should have been on a very good profit already on corn, and especially if you used a very good lot size. The same thing if you took wheat, you should have been on a very good profit on wheat also, especially if you used a good lot size. So this kind of thing is actually you're supposed to just be targeting just one peep. It's just one peep that we're targeting, and the target is actually using one standard lot for one peep. Using one standard lot for one peep. All right. So that once the market goes in your direction, this particular instrument, if you actually use one standard lot, you should have been on minimum of 100 and something thousand naira profit. That is on corn. And on wheat, also about 80K or thereabout. All right. I told this particular one, I said if you don't want to take it, you shouldn't, but it's to still push up actually. But for corn and soybean, you should have been on a very good profit already, especially when you use the preferred lot size, especially if you use the lot size that was recommended. All right, so I think that would be that for this particular instrument. Like I said, if you want to have this particular, the lot calculator and the risk management indicator, all right, mostly it's actually called the risk management indicator, or you can still call it lot calculator. It's fine. All right. Great. Great, I just pray that a lot of you actually enter the instant sale coming all the way down again. You would have been on at least some good profit already. And oh, great. If you also enter this particular trade, you should have also been on a very good profit. And remember, our take profit is further down. So it means that the market will still push down. All right. All right. So I think that will be that for, I said, if you need this particular lot calculator, reach out to your account manager. They will tell you the requirement. I'm going to be activating it directly for you. So it means I'm going to be connecting to your desk and activating this particular indicator directly on your desk. And if you also took on the USD IDX, congratulations, also would have been on a very good profit. And we said that we're actually using 0.9 on this particular trade. So by now, we would have been making some good profit on it already. So congratulations to all of us that actually took up the trade, and I hope you made profit. Apart from this Euro USD, I said I actually missed the trend. Yeah, I missed up the trend, but it was supposed to have been a buy, but I mistakenly mentioned a sell. Yeah, because of I said dollar index is going to be buying, it's going to be selling, and if dollar index is going to be selling, you already know that Euro USD should be buying and GBP USD should be buying. All right, dollar index we said dollar index is sell, so Euro USD is buy and GBP USD is buy. Okay. All right, so I think that will be all right. So for if you're on corn and soybean, I guess you should have made some good profit by now. You should have made some good profit, and especially if you use one standard lot. All right. All right. The people I'm talking to on agro commodities are specifically those that use big lot size, that really want to make profit on agro commodities. If you want to do that, or if you want to get more details on how to do this, on how to use this particular strategy, you can always reach out to me. We can talk about it personally. Can talk about it personally. All right. So that going to be that for today. Yeah, of course. Now, because dollar index is, if you guys actually get this, dollar index is going down. Dollar is going down. If dollar is going down, what do you think is going to happen to Euro, or what, to US 30, US 100, D30, and the rest? You should know. You should know better. Corn is agbado. Yes, corn is agbado. All right. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You got that. You got that. That's actually one of the reasons why sometimes when I'm starting the analysis, I start on dollar index, so that once you know the trend of dollar index, you don't even need to get to know what is happening to any other instrument. You already know. Look at US 100. You would have made some massive profit by now. Look at all of them. You should have made something really, really, really remarkable on all of them. But thank you for joining me today. Have a lovely day. I hope you made some profit. If you did, reach out to your account manager. They'll contact me. If you need the lot calculator and the risk management indicator, also reach out to me. When I say reach out to me, reach out to your account manager. They will definitely tell me, and I'll get it installed on your system. Now, it's not installation. You can't get the soft copy. It has to be activated on your MT4. That is actually how it works. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. We're going to be doing the same thing, same time tomorrow, the same link. Please do well to join me. My name is Chikezie Clement. Thank you very much. Wow, soya bean, we're on good profit. Soya bean, it's just making us proud. All right, so if you want to go through this event again, maybe just to go through what we actually mentioned, click on the link on the chat to visit our YouTube page, and also do well to join our Telegram link. See you at the same time tomorrow.